Well, good morning, everyone. We are back from Thanksgiving holiday. All the Thursday night games are all done. But yesterday, we had a shootout of a Thursday game. Jed, Jimmy, welcome. How are you guys?
I'm
Good.
not happy that I was playing against DK Metcalf, who blew up. I was like,
Did you see that
man.
last touchdown catch he had? I mean,
Yeah.
because Geno Smith just threw it up there and he caught it, and that was like what, his third touchdown for the game.
Yeah, Metcalf is so good, so good.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I turned on TV. I mean, I turned on Prime, right? It was 17-7. I said, oh, Dallas is going to run away with the game. Next thing you know, I said, how in the world is Seattle up?
Yeah, I mean, so not only did I play against DK Metcalf, I had Charbonnet and I sat him, so I didn't get the Charbonnet points. I at least did play Pollard, so I got a little bit of that, but I was so mad. Oh man.
Yeah. I was glad for a good game though, because sometimes those Thursday games are duds, you know, and so just to have like a decent team, I'm sure Al Michaels is happy about it as well too.
Yeah. Hey, honestly, a lot of times, once again, you could talk about CeeDee Lamb and all that other stuff, but Brandon Cooks, yet again, even though he got like less than 100 yards, I think 60 yards, but he got another touchdown.
He was 4-4, 45 yards in the touchdown. He scored about 14 fantasy points. I put Chris Godwin on my bench, even though he's a starter, and I put Brandon Cooks in because that guy's been scoring, but Dak Prescott's been really on fire as well too. Yeah.
Again, I think I mentioned it to you guys last week. It's one of those things I'm very annoyed by because Dak Prescott has always been my QB. And this year, I said, forget it. I'm going with Aaron Rodgers. And there it goes.
Yeah.
Well, you had to have been patient, though, because as we talked about, he had a bad first half. So he's coming on right at the perfect time. And that's one thing I've been talking about with some friends is how you really want to peak. Like, you can't, if you were great in the first half and now you're on your way down, like, that's not how you want to go into the playoffs. You want to be picking, like Brandon Cooks. You want to be picking up the guys that are hot going into the playoffs.
Well, I'll tell you, CeeDee Lamb. You know, CeeDee Lamb for me has always been kind of like the second tier of wide receivers. But CeeDee Lamb, 12 of 17, 116 yards, another touchdown. I would say he's vaulted up there to at least be number 2, number 3 wide receiver in the league.
Oh, yeah. No, CeeDee Lamb is great. You've always known the talent is there. It was just about Dak getting better. And for whatever, maybe he was hurt and we didn't know because there's whenever it's just like Joe Burrow. Earlier, remember, we were like, what's wrong with Joe Burrow? What's wrong? And then it turned out he had an injury. Same thing with Dak. Maybe he had some lingering injury and needed to really recover because he's been a lot better.
Mm-hmm. So here's my frustration. I've been keeping Zach Charbonnet on my bench for the entire year. And the last couple of weeks, I've actually played him. Last week, he didn't do too good. This week, he's actually pretty good. 15 fantasy points, 19 rushes, 60 yards, and a touchdown. But did you see that at the 3-minute mark, he went out? And so he's listed as doubtful. And so they're thinking it might be a more serious injury. But that's what I'm reading right now.
Now, what they're saying in terms of the latest is he has a bone bruise. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but Zach Charbonnet, I was actually thinking he was going to be like a Jahmyr Gibbs, where he's just going to go off and supplant Kenneth Walker. So that's why I've been keeping him on my my bench.
No, I need Kenneth Walker. My whole lineup is dependent on Kenneth Walker.
Yeah. Let's see. Like you said, Jed, DK Metcalf, 6 of 8 yards, 6 of 8 targets, 134 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Tyler Lockett was pretty much like not a factor anymore because Jackson Smith and the Jigma, he had 7 of 11 for 62 yards. He was actually pretty good.
Yeah, it was a really, for me, I'm in 3 leagues. One of my leagues, I need to win this week. And to get into, I'm like 7-6 or whatever, and I'm playing against Metcalf. It's just going to be such a hard. I mean, he's basically like 3 guys. He basically had the scores of 3 guys, so it's going to be so hard to beat.
And this is the worst week because there's so many buys this week, and you're sitting there, oh my gosh, it's slim pickings. Like even with one of my leagues, right? Dallas Cowboys always carries me through. They got -1 point.
Yeah. By the way, Tom, I saw you dropped. I don't know which league you did, but you dropped Dameon Pierce. Was it our for like Christian Watson or something like that, right?
No. I dropped it for a defensive player, IDP. All right. I need to squeak by in that league that we've been in. And so I'm sitting there, I don't want to drop Dameon Pierce, but I need to drop someone, Dameon Pierce, Achane, or something like that, because I got to win this game in order to get into the playoffs.
Wow.
Yeah.
I see
I,
that.
I, I saw that this morning. I was like, oh, and I was surprised Christian Watson was actually still on the waiver wire. I was like, sometimes this is the time when people are dropping players that you can pick up.
Oh yeah.
That's actually pretty good and can help
Yeah.
you for the next couple of weeks.
Well, like you said, there's so many bye weeks. There's so many buys this week that it's much more serious as far as. So I'm actually in our league. I don't know if you get in our league. I think I have 5 players on buy. I can't fill them all, so I'm just gonna play the week with like 2 guys on buy.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be down
Yeah.
2 guys.
yeah.
But at the same time, Jed, if you have a good playoff positioning, you could do that, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if
Well,
you're
I actually
just on
clinched.
the brink.
Exactly. Like I already clinched that league, our league, I clinched the playoff spot. So I could actually sit everyone and it'd be fine. But other leagues, I'm like stressing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in how many leagues? You're in 2 leagues?
3. I'm in 3.
3 leagues. Okay.
Yeah.
Jim, the league that you were talking about, the keeper league, I dropped Chris Godwin for Christian Watson.
Oh, Chris Godwin. Okay. That's
Yeah.
who you were looking at.
Yeah, I am willing to do it because a lot of times it's a keeper league, right? Jordan Love has shown, especially with his good game, I want to see him progress. He has progressed, and Christian Watson did well 2 years ago, last year, and so hey, Godwin is going to be what it is, right? I'm not going to keep him, but I am inclined to see what Christian Watson gives me.
Well, did you guys see? I was just looking at the stats, and I wish I kept it. At this point in his career, I think in 25 games, Jordan Love has the same statistics as Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
Did
I
you
saw
see
that.
Yeah,
I saw that. Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Hey, who are you guys picking up on the waivers this week?
Actually, you know what? A lot of times, don't you feel like everything changed during the waiver wires when Tuesday was announced that Jonathan Taylor will be out for the next 2 weeks? And suddenly everyone's going after Zach Moss, who people have dropped.
Yep. Yeah, that killed me. Because fortunately, I have Kyren Williams and for me, the main one was Pat Fryermuth, the Pittsburgh tight end. That was the main guy I was trying to hit across the board because I've just been weak on tight end in a lot of places. So fortunately, I was able to get him in a couple leagues.
Yeah. Jed and Jimmy, the one that I went after was Juwan Johnson over at the New Orleans Saints because Olave, Rashid,
everyone's out. Everyone's out.
Gone.
Yeah,
everyone's gone. And so you got to throw to someone. And so it really is it Taysom Hill? Is it Juwan Johnson? So I'm going with Juwan Johnson.
Yeah. The other person I'm looking at from the Browns is Elijah Moore because Amari Cooper, I mean, he's still going to play, but he's really injured. And so I think they're really going to lean in on Elijah Moore this week.
Yeah, but Jim, it's Joe Flacco throwing.
No, I actually think Flacco's not that bad. He's better than the other guys.
Flacco. Yeah. Oh my God.
By the way, I don't know if I know I never pay attention to the Giants, and the Giants aren't playing this week, but everyone keeps talking about this guy, Tommy DeVito. They keep saying he's actually pretty good, their quarterback.
Yeah, the quarterback. Well, I mean, he had one good. I mean, it's like Dobbs. Like everyone was on Dobbs, and then he had not such good of a game. Same thing. I mean, he had one game. It's just too small of a sample. But
yeah. The other two people that I'm looking at, Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love and Geno Smith has been out there in waivers for a lot of people, and then Greg Dortch because there's no wide receiver. It's outside of the tight end for Arizona. Greg Dortch has actually scored at least like 9 or 10 points the last few weeks too.
Yeah, actually, in terms of quarterback, if you were looking for a quarterback, probably Love is good and Russell Wilson's out there. The person you need to look at is Sam Howell. Did you know he's QB7 this year, and he's averaging a league high 45 pass attempts? Now they're playing Miami. They're playing a Vic Fangio defense in Miami, but they're going to be behind, right? There's no running game in the Washington Commanders, so I actually might take a look at Sam Howell.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. And along with that, Logan Thomas, the tight end, he's on our waivers. That's not a bad ad because, like you said, they're going to be throwing it a lot. So I like that.
Yeah. By the way, for all of you guys who are thinking that Aaron Rodgers might come back, ESPN is reporting that he is not game ready. So even though he might potentially get off of the wave of injury list, he's not game ready right now.
Yeah. And the earliest that they say that he might get on is week 16. By then, it's
we'll
pretty
be
much
done.
playoff time. So forget it.
Yeah. Jake Browning is on the week 13 injury report with a right wrist injury. T. Higgins is maybe for this week. Would you even try to risk? I mean, the hard part about T. Higgins is he doesn't play until Monday night. And so you either have to put him on your bench or you just have to wait. What are you guys going to do with a T. Higgins?
Oh yeah, I don't like that if it's waiting until Monday. I guess I would just watch. Basically, you have to make a decision by Sunday morning. So
Yeah.
that's tough. I don't know. Actually, I don't think I like T. Higgins, especially who's the backup
For who?
Cincinnati for the Bengals.
For Tyler Boyd. You mean
Yeah,
the
yeah,
wide receiver?
yeah.
Tyler Boyd is actually pretty good.
Okay, yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But at the same time, it's the other guy on the other end who I like. Jacksonville's quarterback, Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, he's
He
coming
has
around.
really come
Calvin
on
Ridley
in the
too.
last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley, though, that's the thing. They've come on the last 2 weeks. Calvin Ridley scored touchdowns both weeks, and I had him sitting on my bench. But I'm still scared to throw him back out there. So I don't know.
I've actually been surprised that I found Trevor Lawrence as a number of waiver wires because a lot of people dumped him during the time when he was not doing well and struggling.
Yeah. In the past 5 weeks, he has done really, really well, but more so in the last 3 weeks, he has done exceptionally well.
Yeah. Tom, Brees Hall limited in Thursday's practice. He owned the Jets just managed 2.3 yards per play last week. Where are you going with Brees Hall?
I'm still playing him with all the buys and all that stuff. Brees Hall. Now, Garrett Wilson is always the one that I struggle with, but Brees Hall, a lot of times, no matter what, they're going to be running the ball. And so a lot of times still give it to Brees Hall.
Yeah. But Garrett Wilson actually last week had double digits, 14 points, and they're really going into this backup quarterback. I actually think he's better than Zach Wilson. We'll play Brees Hall, but I think especially because there's nobody else out there, but he's been limited the last few weeks and not doing too well.
The guy that I actually would prioritize this week is Rachaad White over at the Carolina Panthers. Yeah. Rachaad White over at Tampa Bay. A lot of times, here's a good stat. Running backs who have seen 15-plus touches versus the Panthers average 22 points per game. And Rachaad White has 15-plus touches in 10 of his 11 games. Rachaad White is definitely someone to prioritize this week.
He's actually pretty good. I like Rachaad White. At first, I was like, no, this guy's not going to do it. Actually, he surprised me, and then also Mike Evans has surprised me this year. Jed, Devon Achane. He was limited in Thursday's practice. They said it's more precautionary. Yeah. Last week, 2 weeks ago when he got injured, he wanted to come back into the game. But what are you going to do with the Achane? Is he somebody you want to play?
Well, no, I can't risk, going in this week is just too important. And actually, I think the harder question is Mostert. Like, what do you do? Like, if Mostert's going to potentially split carries or not? And I think Mostert even has a questionable designation. So it's tough, man. At this stage right now, you just gotta go with certain things. I don't think you can risk having someone who's not going to actually play.
Yeah. Yeah, that is actually true because every victory right now, right? Like if you're trying to make it into the playoffs, they're important, right? Like, so for Charbonnet has a high ceiling, but was that somebody you wanted to risk? Now, if you played him, you actually did pretty well. Yep. But for some of these players, it's like, do I go for a Brandon Cooks or do I go for a Chris Godwin, or somebody like that as well too? So, Tom, are you playing Achane?
Unless I'm forced to.
I mean, who you playing over Achane?
There's nothing like Javonte Williams, Damian. If I had to sit there and pick between Dameon Pierce and Achane, I may go with Achane because Dameon Pierce stinks that badly. So if I'm stuck with that, I go with Achane because he re-injured himself. It was more of a precautionary. Hey, look, you just got back. You're feeling your knee is hurting a little bit. Let's take you out. So I may try him, especially Raheem Mostert. Not sure about where he's at.
Let me ask you something. Devin Singletary, who's actually splitting carries now with Dameon Pierce. Would you play Devin Singletary, who is been pretty good, or do you play an Achane?
Achane. I will go with the one that could potentially get me more yardage. I go with Achane.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I like the high ceiling argument, right? Like you got to go for, depending on who you're playing. If you feel like you're playing against someone where you've got to score really big points, then I think Achane has a higher ceiling.
Yeah, Tom, I know you have Aaron Jones on your team. Are you keeping him on your bench? I mean, he didn't practice on Thursday.
He's not playing. I mean, he's not playing for me a lot of times. He's been very undependable. And a lot of times, Aaron Jones, I'll probably end up playing him in the past. And then next thing you know, he's limited. or he's out in the second quarter or third quarter and all that. So until he actually gets back, he's sitting on my bench right now.
Yeah. The other person that I'm following, I think he'll end up playing, but Travis Etienne did not practice at Thursday, and he was limited during the rest of the week. So, I mean, he hasn't been doing spectacular the last few weeks, and some people speculate that he might have some sort of injury as well too. So,
yeah, that's the guy I'm struggling with. I can pick between Travis Etienne, Mostert, and Montgomery.
Yeah, I go for Montgomery. He's the more sure thing. But Etienne, if he plays, I mean, he has the potential of scoring like 20, 30 points if he wanted to.
It's one of those things you wait to the last minute as much as you hate it.
Yeah.
Hey, the guys that I got picked is Achane, George Pickens, Rashid Rice, or Aaron Jones. Who would you pick? I only can play one.
Wait, say those again.
Achane, Pickens, Rashid Rice, Aaron Jones.
I choose either Rashid Rice or Achane. Rashid Rice has scored touchdowns in the last couple of games, but I pick out of those two.
Yeah, I like Achane out of that group. I like running back over wide receiver.
Yeah.
So right now I have Achane over all of those guys. Like George Pickens, I don't like. Aaron Jones, I don't like. Rashid Rice, I do like, but they're playing Green Bay. Achane is playing Washington, so I'm playing Achane over Washington.
Anyways, let's look at the schedule. Week 13. I'm going through the schedule right now. There's actually a couple of pretty good games this coming week. Let's see, December 3rd. Can you imagine it's already December, guys? Like it's almost Christmas. Like, yeah.
Got to start doing your Christmas shopping.
All right, Jed, I'm going to rely on you for the lines.
Yeah,
Broncos versus Texans. Actually, two pretty hot teams. Who do you like fantasy-wise, Tom, on the Texans and the Broncos?
Texans, well, you know what? CJ Stroud is starting for me all the time. Tank Dell and their connection has a wonderful, wonderful connection. A lot of times, I don't know. A lot of times, Tank Dell seems to be interested, but I am all in on CJ Stroud, all in. Which, by the way, it makes Frank Wright over at the Carolina Panthers got fired after almost before the season. He actually favored drafting CJ Stroud. It's David Tepper, the owner, who actually wanted the quarterback Young.
Yeah.
Hey, look, that David Tepper is turning out that he fired Matt Rule before the season was over last year. He fired Frank Wright. It's not even now. Give them a chance. Let them play. I don't know why you're firing these guys.
No, I think when you have, it's the same thing with the Raiders, right? Like, I think sometimes when you have these owners that think that they know better than the coach and they make the decisions, but then at the end of the day, the person that's going to get blamed is the coach. There is no reason why they should have chosen a Young over a Stroud, right? But Stroud has turned out to be even better than these guys have imagined to be.
They like the running ability, just like Kyler Murray and all that stuff. Look, they're tiny, but then Stroud, even though he's more of a pocket passer, has shown that he makes great decisions.
Yeah. The only thing for a Tepper, though, you would think that they would have kept up Frank Reich because they know that these guys were going to lose. Like this was going to be a losing. They didn't have anybody around him. My guess is that they saw CJ Stroud and saw how good he is, and then they felt the pressure to fire him.
Yeah. And Jed, Denver and Houston, how much I love Javonte Williams. I'm waiting for this guy to pop and do really well. The Javonte Williams from a year and a half ago, I'm still waiting for him, but I still have high hopes.
Hey, Denver has been, we all talked about it. They looked so bad. They have turned it around. What is it, like 5 straight or 6 straight? They're really good position. So this is a tough game. Houston's actually a 3-point favorite. It's at Houston, which means that basically they think they're even. And I think that's right. Yeah. It's a coin flip because either of these teams winning.
I think the Broncos are actually. I would, if I were to pick, I would say the Broncos will end up winning. They've got momentum. They've got a good team. Cortland Sutton has been hot. Even actually P. Ryan, the last few weeks if you're looking for a backup or somebody to pick up off the waiver wires, P. Ryan's actually been pretty good the last few weeks.
Yeah, especially with all these bye weeks. He's someone I would play.
Yeah. Jed, Browns versus Rams. Who are you picking in that game?
Browns Rams. Ooh,
Yeah.
let me see what is the spread on that. Here we go.
Jed, you
Rams
run
are
Kyron Williams, right?
Rams are 3.5-point
Yeah.
favorites. It's in California. I mean, this one's about Kyron Williams and I had him sitting on the bench last week with 35 points. So that's but the Browns are a really good defense. That's the other thing. I've been playing the Browns defense even when they lose. They've been paying a lot of points too. So I would still play all of our Rams. How's Puka been doing? Because that's one guy.
No, both of those Cooper Cup. Actually, this is what I was going to say. If you kept Cooper Cup, a bunch of people drafted Cooper Cup and Jonathan Taylor, hoping that they'll come in towards the end of the season, help them. Those two have not really done too much for people, except for a couple games.
Yeah, Taylor wasn't bad. He just the injury is what messed him up. I mean, he started off like getting back, but Puka though, Puka and Cooper, you can always feel like they could go off.
Yeah.
They have the potential, and you have to keep them in the lineup. But in the last 3 weeks, they have not been doing well.
Tom, Kyron Williams, is he a dynasty keeper for next year?
Oh yeah. Kyron
Really?
Williams.
You guys think so? I mean,
he is on my dynasty.
Yeah.
So don't you think he's going to end up being like? I don't know. I feel like the Rams always come up with these really good running backs, and that they it's a system. I think it's more of a system than a player.
That's a good point. I mean, the Rams do seem to burn and churn them. So
yeah.
But if you also been watching Sean McVay, he does tend to. But even when he does have Kyron Williams in the lineup, he just strictly just plays them.
Yeah. True. Anyways, okay. 49ers versus. Oh, by the way, before I do it. Did you guys know there's a big slate of Saturday games this week?
Oh, I missed that.
No, it's like 3 games playing some really good games playing on Saturday this week. So just want to let you know. Yeah, for those people watching it. Okay, I would say this is the biggest game of the week. 49ers versus the Eagles. Jalen Hurts has actually been better than I thought he would be. I actually could potentially see him as MVP, but I do think my guess is 49ers is favored in this game, correct?
No, the Eagles are favored because it's in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So the Eagles are favored by 3 points, which again means that it's an equal spread. They basically think they're the same.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing is, Jed, I made a trade with Jimmy, which has turned out to be a win-win. It's in this, I think, 14-team league. I gave him Brandon Ayuk. I got Jalen Hurts. I'm very happy with Jalen Hurts. I'm a little disappointed I lost Ayuk, especially in the light of Jonathan Taylor's injury, but still, I'm very, very happy with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. He's the reason why I did it is because I already had CJ Stroud on the bench, so I was like, I got Kyler Murray too. So I needed a Brandon Ayuk because I need to strengthen my wide receivers.
I kind of think Brock Purdy might have a good game in this one. He didn't have as great of he had a string of like nice 20+ point games after he came back from the injury, and then last week he didn't have a good game. So I could see a bounce back game here. Hopefully this will be a high scoring game. There'll be a lot of points on both sides.
Yeah, and Christian McCaffrey, I mean, he hasn't been injured this year. Christian McCaffrey's a stud. Like, I'll tell you this. Number one fantasy pick, right? Yeah, like there is no reason. Like this year, what's his name? Who's the running back?
Austin Eckler.
Eckler, yeah.
He's not done. I mean, Christian McCaffrey every week is going to get you at least 20 points.
Yep.
Yeah. Chiefs versus Packers.
Yep, Chiefs are 6-point favorites in Wisconsin. And again, I think it might even be higher than that. I expect the Chiefs to. Only thing to watch out for on this one. This is a funny thing you got to be watching out for is weather. Right, the weather up here, it's raining right now up here in Chicago, and so you got to watch the weather because that'll tone down a lot of the stats. The Chiefs are heavily favored in this one.
I am interested to see how the development with Rashid Rice, and I am also interested in seeing how Jordan Love goes against a top team.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the last couple of weeks, if you look at Lamar Jackson, Kansas City's defense is really good, And so actually this past week I had to decide, do I pick up a Jordan Love or should I get a Geno Smith as my quarterback because Josh Allen's out? I think I picked the wrong person. Anyways, do you guys, what do you call it? Who else is, hold on, I'm looking at this right now. All right, and then lastly, Bengals versus Jaguars. I think that's going to be a pretty good game as well too. Bengals versus Jaguars. Tom, who do you like in that game, and who do you like from a fantasy perspective?
Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to continue to play Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to keep Calvin Ridley in my lineup as well too. They have been doing really well as we talked about. In Cincinnati, I actually don't like anyone. I mean, I just Jamar Chase barely. I mean, just because a lot of times Joe Mixon, no. All that's T. Higgins, no, nothing.
Yeah, it's surprising. Jacksonville is an 8.5-point favorite in this game.
Yeah.
So they really are knocking down Cincinnati without Burrow and saying like they cannot win. It's in Jacksonville, but still 8.5 points. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised. But yeah, for me, it's all the Jacksonville players. Those are the guys who I'm looking to get points from.
Some people say that Jacksonville's the best team in the AFC. Do you think that's true?
Nah, Kansas City is still there. Baltimore. Hey, look. I mean, did you see the Monday night game? Baltimore has a great defense.
Yeah,
it's not the Ray Lewis defense, but they have with Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith there. They have a very good defense.
I sometimes wish the Bears kept Roquan Smith.
Oh,
I know
yeah,
he was
definitely.
really expensive, but that guy's so good.
Yeah, but they look. I mean, they're not going to pay him $100 million, and they were in a rebuilding, and they wanted draft picks. I could see where it's coming from, but man, Roquan Smith is so good as a middle linebacker.
Yeah. By the way, we got 5 minutes, but more and more, I think the Bears are going to dump Justin Fields.
Really? I think it depends on if they keep the GM, fire the coach. Justin Fields is in. If they fire the GM and the coach, then they might be moving on from Fields, which I would be disappointed in. I want them to keep him.
And my gut feeling is I would love to see a Marvin Harrison Jr. in the offensive lineman. I mean, those would be my two. Continue to solidify the O-line.
Yeah, exactly.
But here's my thing is going back to Roquan Smith, do you really just want to spend all of that money on a quarterback who you're unsure of in his third year, right? And so I can see them essentially resetting everything and just saying, you know what, we're just going to go find somebody, play him on the rookie contract, and maybe he becomes a quarterback of our future. But I do think that everybody in Chicago will be disappointed if a Marvin Harrison doesn't come, because I think them more than anybody else, that's who they want, especially based off of that Michigan-Ohio State game last week.
Oh, he has been amazing. If he comes, so there's 2 jerseys that I want in Chicago that I'm waiting on. It's Marvin Harrison Jr. in a Bears jersey and Shohei Ohtani in a Cubs jersey. If Ohtani comes to the Cubs, I'm getting that jersey.
Hey, supposedly they're spending a lot of money on that guy. Supposedly they're going to try and make a big offer.
It is well worth it. Whatever money you could give to Ohtani, not only just on the field, but off the field, in terms of season ticket sales, in terms of all your jersey sales, everything. Plus, you get the entire Japan sitting there coming in. I would go with whatever he wants. I'm paying.
Yeah,
I've actually been intrigued because the Cubs are doing these like mini season ticket plans where you can buy for 20 games. I've actually thought about like just investing some money into it, but right now all my money is going to Bitcoin, which we were talking about earlier. Hey, quick question. Bulls are trying to trade Zach LaVine. You think they're going to try to trade him here in the next few weeks?
I hope they do. I've never been a fan of Zach LaVine. I don't like players that can't play defense, basically. So get rid of the guy. That's not a guy that I want to build around.
Did you guys see last night's game?
Yeah.
They won,
I was
right?
actually no, they won, and they were missing DeRozan and LaVine.
Yeah. They made Vucevic just like Jokic, the point center, and he had I think a double at 27 points. I think about 14 rebounds or something like that. And he distributed the ball. Caruso, Patrick Williams, Kobe White, they all did really, really well. The ball was moving. There was high energy. You didn't recognize a lot of players, but it was fun watching the game.
Yeah. No, actually, I was surprised. Like Alex Caruso had that game tying 3-pointer, and Kobe White, because Patrick Williams, people have been saying, do we want to keep him? And he's actually played really well. I think it's LaVine more than DeRozan. I think LaVine is the problem with that team.
Yeah. And Vucevic yesterday, 29 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists.
Wow.
And they played against the Milwaukee Bucks. All right.
Yeah.
So it wasn't Charlotte Hornets. It was the Milwaukee Bucks.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that's true. So I don't know. Any last thoughts? Are you guys putting money into Bitcoin?
I might now. I didn't know that it had been going up. So I'm definitely paying attention. That's really great. I've been holding on and just kind of stopped looking at it. So
here's my thing. I think I think you want to hit the wave, right?
Yeah.
It's at 38,000. They'll hit 40,000. I think you're going to see the ETF get approved here in the next few months. They'll hit 55, 60. because people will start jumping on it. People are not paying as much attention right now, but they'll start paying attention once it gets to 50. And then once it gets to like 65, 70, sell a portion of it and get out, and then let it ride a little bit. So,
yeah. Any baseball notes? Any other basketball notes? Hey, Henry Kissinger passed away at 100 years old. I mean, he was a very influential figure in American history.
Yeah. Actually, one other thing. Have you guys been watching this NBA in-season tournament? Is it worth it?
I like it. I've watched a little bit. I like just having the change up. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's this weekend or early next week, but the ESPN team and the TNT team are supposed to come together. So you got Stephen A. Smith, you've got Michael Wilbon, Barkley, and they were saying who's going to have the bigger ego, Barkley or Stephen A. Smith.
I like that.
I am looking forward to seeing when they're all in Las Vegas as well too. Hey, also on a side note, one show that I was watching this week, every single season 4, the last season of not Jack Reacher. What's that one with? Oh my gosh,
Ryan.
Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
Oh,
excellent.
Really?
The last 6 episodes tied in. It was high action the entire time. I thought it was so good, and I spent 4 days watching every single night. I watched at least an episode and a half.
Do you have to watch the previous seasons?
You do not. It was very good. It was very, very good.
So I'm in the middle of. I was a big fan of Squid Games, the movie, and now they have the real life version on Netflix. And I thought for sure that it would not be any good. It has been really good. Like I'm really enjoying it because it's not hokey. It's like it feels very legit, and like you can win. The winner gets a 4.3 million. So it's like really good. I would, if you like the movie, I would encourage you to watch this.
It's interesting. I was listening to Dan Patrick on his show, and he was sitting there. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Oh no, it's good. It's really good because like what I thought it would be bad is because I thought, like you're not going to get killed. So like, are you going to really play the game the same way? But because of the money, they really like people are emotional and they're crying. Like it's a good watch. I would definitely watch it.
Well, with no football coming up here soon, with none of these fall shows coming up until later on. I mean, I'm glad that we have like Netflix and some of these other shows that we can lean on as well too. So mine and Tommy's favorite show, Blue Bloods, they're entering their last season, so nice. I'm a little disappointed by that.
Yeah, 14 seasons, and I am just finished season 9, and I'm starting season 10, but it has been a very good show to watch.
Wow, it's a good show. Have you ever watched it, Jed? Mm. You should watch it. Last couple seasons, it's pretty good. I enjoy it.
Nice.
Yeah. So, all right. Anything else?
Nope. I got to jump on the call with Nairobi.
Yeah. All right. Week 13, and then playoffs are starting here in a couple weeks. Week 15 is when playoffs start. Actually.
Yeah. Well, 14 depends on your league.
Yeah, Jed. I just want you to lose first place in our dynasty, so I can get up there. So I've been watching 2 things. I've been watching, is Jed going to lose? And then for Tommy in the league that we're in with our Chinatown friends, I don't want him to make the playoffs because his team is strong. And I actually just texted my friend who's playing against him this week. And I was like, you better make sure that you play your good players because we don't want him in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's why I'm making moves to try to sneak into the playoffs. And so I am dumping. That's why I dumped Damian Pierce in order to pick up a defensive player because I need all my guys in there. Hey, I'm even at the point where I'm sitting there looking at matchups of kickers and trying to compare which kickers I'm going to play.
Oh, by the way, Young-Hee Koo, if you guys didn't see, officially passed the Baltimore kicker with the highest season percentage accuracy.
Justin Tucker? Really?
Justin Tucker, yeah. So if he finishes the season out, he will be the highest rated ever single season percentage accuracy field goal kicker.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Later. Bye.